through my business that I get to be the creative eye upon and be in control of. I get to utilize my platform. My favorite thing to do is to talk and connect with people. I get to do my favorite thing in the world, talking about my favorite topics in the world, which are health and fitness and wellness, and helping people live better lives. I don't know what this career might not exist, but it is what I'm doing and it's what I'm meant to do because it lights me up.
Hi, and welcome to Voices for Impact. My name is Danielle Mensing, founder of Voices for Impact, and today I'm chatting with my friend Aleece Behr. Aleece is a licensed psychologist, a registered yoga teacher, and founder of Own Your Omh. She helps women through her health coaching and corporate consulting to improve their mindset in order to improve their overall health. Women go from feeling anxious, tired, and overwhelmed to calm, energized, and in control. So, Aleece, thank you so much for having a conversation with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about what makes you passionate about mindset and mental health.
That's a very loaded question. I would say, my interest started when I had my own kind of mental health struggles throughout high school. And I went into the field of psychology in college knowing I wanted to help people, knowing that I didn't feel like there was a lot of support out there for me when I was struggling, and wanted to be someone who in some way made an impact in terms of helping people, especially kids, understanding mental health and mindset. And so, long story short of school, I ended up in the field of school psychology, which is what I do now. And I just was passionate about, helping kids as young as can be grow and understand the things that took me to my, teens and 20s to really understand. And I've always had this passion for physical fitness. And I noticed that, my work through physical fitness helped me mentally. And so I always really relied on that correlation of using, I played volleyball, a lot growing up, and travel and utilizing that. And I noticed that helped me improve my mental health. And so I always kind of knew that realm of some sort was what I wanted to do and what I wanted to get into. But I think ultimately it was my own kind of difficulties and then my passion to kind of pass that on and help people and give support that I didn't feel like I had, especially growing up and not really hearing much about it. Mindset and mental health are definitely more buzzwords now. So even when I was going through it, I'm not really sure that I fully identified what it was. I just knew that, I was going through something. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's led me down like my career path and where I am today.
You started Own Your Omh. Could you tell me a little bit about what that business is all about and what you're doing with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So out of my work through school psychology and working a lot with kids, I always thought, the children are our future, which they totally are. I don't discredit that at all. But, I noticed a lot of my colleagues and my staff members and my friends, in other jobs and careers, just being very burnt out and feeling very tired. And, I'm fresh out of grad school. I went to college and then 3 years of grad school and to go into the workforce, and myself even feeling burnt out and thinking, I don't know if I can do 30 more years of this. I just felt like the mentality all of a sudden is like, the busier you are, the more you work, the more hours you work, the better in some capacity you are. And that's just not, how I feel. And so I thought, I always thought it was the kids I needed to get to, but if their role models and people in their lives are modeling stress and anxiety and not good health habits, how are we ever going to kind of break this pattern? And so I'm seeing it across the board. And I knew that, I love my job as a school psychologist, but I also love my job as a fitness instructor. And I see a lot of women who ask me questions and really just for no fault of their own are bombarded with information and kind of lack the education around what actually is good for our bodies, right? Because we're told so many different things, especially, in advertising and be this, eat this, don't eat this. This is bad for you. This is good for you. And I just feel like women especially get overwhelmed and confused. And so kind of this combination of, seeing women struggling despite doing the physical work, and then also seeing, my students and my colleagues struggling, with emotional regulation and just staying healthy and taking care of themselves and making that self-care priority. So I kind of started to think of like, how can I help people do this, and what can I bring to the table, and how can I make this an easier process for them? And so Own Your Omh is all about doing what's right and perfect for you and your body, and owning it, and not caring what the next person is doing. Like I said, especially as women, I think we get into this habit of like, oh, well, this person's wearing this or using this product or eating this particular diet or whatever it is. And we easily fall into that, like, should I be doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And so Own Your Omh is all about discovering what works for you, which after many years of my own personal struggles, I've really streamlined the process for my clients, about taking what works, creating a sustainable routine, and leaving what doesn't work, right? What doesn't resonate with you, and empowering women to step up into their health and wellness, to make themselves a priority, to stop putting themselves on the back burner, and to educate themselves properly, and to know that they don't need to fear food, and that they should absolutely love the skin that they're in, and whatever clothing they wear, and mindset is really at the root of that. And so a lot of the strategies that we work on look at both how we address health and wellness and nutrition, but more so how we look at that from a mental perspective, and how we frame those thoughts and feelings around food and exercise, and how we can improve them to ultimately, just improve. It's about optimal wellness, right? Like holistic. It's not just about being fit or eating well, or, it's about having health in your relationships, your life, prosperity, and abundance across, all areas. So that's the goal. And there's a pretty refined process in working on it. And I've used a lot of my psychological education and evidence-based practices, and just applied them to, how can this not work for food and mindset for women? And it's proving to be quite helpful. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have the Own Your Omh group on Facebook where you can join in, and you do live yoga sessions and other workouts, but you also have a guide, the 30-day workout guide too, that just recently came out. What are some other things that you have that people can access to get some help?
Yeah, for sure. So the best place to kind of see the content that I share is probably on Instagram, own period, your period, Omh, OMH. And I spell that OMH for optimal mental health. The 30-day guide was kind of something that came about of quarantine, and people being like, I'm stuck at home, I can't go to the gym, what do I do? But it's also awesome because for $30, $5 of every purchase goes to the Syracuse Rescue Mission, and we'll continue to even after, these quarantine times. But I do group coaching, and that's really my bread and butter. And so it's kind of a hybrid style of one-on-one coaching and a group aspect. And that's where the real community, lies in terms of delving in and doing the hard work. The Facebook is a great place to get started. I love introducing people to yoga. Actually, my favorite group to teach are people that are new to yoga. It's kind of like, I'm like, this is magical and it changed my life. Like, I need to introduce you to it too. So I love getting people on there, especially now. This virtual aspect, again, has been kind of funny because I've had so many people tune into the classes or tell me that they liked them, and they like that they could do them from the privacy of their own homes, and not, I live for that human connection. I want to be there, teach. That's why I'm a group fitness instructor. Obviously, I'm a yoga teacher. Like, I want to be there with the people, but the Facebook group is a great place to see those classes, to go at your own pace, to get a chance to do it, in the privacy of your own home where you feel comfortable. So I kind of love that has been, beneficial for people. But yeah, the group coaching, we just launched this week, and it's been really exciting. We have a great group of women, but it'll kind of be a soft rolling enrollment. So as, more and more women get interested, we're just going to keep going and help build each other up and support each other and create that community to make that wellness sustainable and what works for you, right? And being in a group where you can say, hey guys, this is what's working for me, and respect and honor in that space, that's totally not what works for the next person. So yeah, and hopefully some more things to come, some merchandise, some more training, some more online trainings. But right now we got this group coach body mind reboot launch right now, and we're crushing it for the next 8 weeks. So talk
I
to me
love
after
it.
that.
Exciting things. You're doing awesome things, and helping so many people. What advice to women would you have about mindset and mental health? What is like one big piece of advice that you'd have to say to women?
I think, and this is something I've recently learned and have been telling my clients, is that mindset, physical health, wellness, the best thing you can do is get to know yourself. And so many of us don't, or so many of us think we do and we really don't. And so when it comes to mindset, finding what works, right? If that's a morning routine for you, if that's 10 minutes of yoga in the morning, if that's a meditation, if that's waking up 20 minutes before your husband and kids, and that's what sets you up for your day, that's what you need to do. And with that is experimenting. So, if you're struggling with your mindset, you're struggling with your mental health, something's got to change, right? So where can you make tiny changes, tiny practices? And I think that all comes down to knowing yourself, knowing what stresses you out, right? A lot of our, knowing our triggers, knowing what situations, what feelings come up, being self-aware, thinking, okay, before I react, what is this visceral feeling in my body? What am I feeling? Someone said something that's triggering me. It's maybe not what they said, but it reminds me of something else, and bringing that self-awareness in. And I've gained a lot of those skills from meditation and yoga. I think people have their own ways of tuning into themselves, and I support whatever that is for you. But being able to list off and talk about and know yourself in a way that, here are the things that bug me, here are the things that make me upset, here are the things that get to me. And that's really part of the mindset is changing those thoughts. But in order to change anything, you have to recognize it first. So it's just discover yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
things you think you might like, right? Like, I feel like we get older and we stop trying new things, or we think we're too old. Like, I thought I was like, I just graduated from grad school. I just got this degree. I'm too old. And then I was like, if I'm too old at 26 to be doing something, what the heck am I going to say at 36 or 46, right? Like, It didn't make any sense. So yeah, that's been something that's been really helpful for me. And that's what I teach my clients, is that's how you figure out what works, right? Like, if you hate running, I'm not going to tell you to go run 5 miles this week, because you're not going to do it. It's not going to work for you. It's not going to resonate with you. You try it, it sticks. You don't,
Right.
leave it.
Yeah. Really good advice. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, how do you get yourself in a positive mindset?
So I've been working on this. Quarantine has, I think, as many people, challenged my usual routine. I'm very much a people person, so I like the energy that is going to work and bringing in people, and I work with kids, and that's so fun. But I would say, and kind of I just touched on this part, but my morning routine is how I set up my day. So I have some non-negotiables in the morning, which are hot tea with lemon, meditation, and walking my dog. Those are 3 things that kind of just set me. I mean, the dog walking, I don't really have as much of a choice, but I enjoy that time. I leave my phone at home. That's another thing. I actually have parameters set on my phone where I can't go on it from, I mean, I can go on it, but it reminds me not to go. I have my apps limited, and I also have a wind down time from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m.
I love that.
So to get in a positive mindset, I noticed I always kind of felt like people were robbing me of my time, and I would kind of resent them for it. And then I realized, I'm in control of my own day and my own schedule. And I always love waking up and working out. But sometimes it's just not feasible for me, or I get kind of too into it. And it's like, if I don't do it, I feel guilty. So I've kind of tried to step away from the physical fitness, and how can I really channel, like you said, that mindset work. So meditation, I do some variation. Some mornings I'll read or journal if I feel like I need it. But yeah, hot tea and lemon to start the digestion. Walking the dog, same thing, digestion, and just that mindful walk. No phone, no, just quiet in the morning. And my meditation is key. If I don't meditate, I can feel it in my reactivity throughout the rest of the day.
What advice do you have for people, especially going through this quarantine? And we're starting to get out of quarantine now, little by little. Every day is different. Every day we have different news about what's going on in the world. But what advice would you give to people dealing with challenges with the situation that we're all dealing with globally, nationally, maybe even personal challenges and ways to overcome that?
Yeah. So I think, again, it goes back to finding what works for you, right? So this quarantine has been totally new. Like, actually, that routine I just shared with you is new for me as of quarantine. Okay. I now know that I'll be waking up a little earlier to get those things done when my work days do resume. So I think it's establishing a routine that works for you, feels good for you. And I think, if you're obviously having serious complications, reaching out to mental health professional, especially now, because I mean, rates were already high in terms of people who need support. And I would want anyone who's really in serious need to reach out and get support that they need professionally, because it does take some time to get that process kind of set up. But in terms of just kind of that general, I would say, anxiety, mental struggle, adding movement to your day, getting outside, getting sunshine, grounding down, and gratitude, writing it down, saying it out loud. I wake up in a funk sometimes and I'm just like, I'm grateful for, and I try and list as many things as I can. And it's hard to hold on to that negativity or that bad mood when you're like, I'm really, I have my dog and I have this and I have that and I have a roof over my head and I have food in the fridge, and life's not that bad, right? Like I might be bored, but I think a lot too of this slowing down is people really, two things. One, questioning, how much they rely on being busy, and two, how much their worth is reliant upon being productive or being busy. And two, I think people are having a hard time because we're facing ourselves, right? We're sitting down in the mirror and have been now for the past couple months, and we're left alone with our thoughts and our feelings and things that we've been too busy to pay attention to a lot of the time. And it's human, right? We're going to repress anything that isn't serving us in this moment. But I think I would recommend, working through some of that, journaling about some of that, facing some of that, reading some books, educating yourself on whatever it may be, and recognizing it, acknowledging it. I think that's the hard part for a lot of people. But again, getting to know yourself, right? Like that self-reflective piece. Why is it so anxiety inducing to spend time by yourself? What are you doing that maybe isn't helping you sleep? That's another huge thing I've personally struggled with during this time is sleep. So creating what I call a sleep hygiene routine. Just like you have a morning routine, you have a nighttime routine, you wind down from TV and your phone. Maybe you do read a book, doing things that help you, right? That staying up watching Netflix till 2:00 in the morning, as much as you may be like, this is so fun because I can do it, isn't going to be conducive for your productivity, your sleep, your mood, your digestion, anything tomorrow, right? So make that choice once in a while to have fun, sure. But don't sit there and complain that you're tired and stressed out and overwhelmed tomorrow when you stayed up till 2:00 making that choice.
Good point.
It's the hard truth of the Netflix binge, but doing things. And I think people have a hard time either identifying what those things are that benefit them or help them have a better day or a better mood, or making the time for it. How often people don't make the time for themselves. Now you're home for the past couple of months, you've really had nothing but time alone. So how can you use that to your advantage instead of letting it be a place that's fearful and it's scary for you, but being a place that's productive and replenishing.
Right. So what excites you about starting and creating your own business venture?
What excites me most, to be honest, is helping people, followed very close second by being in charge. No, I enjoy my day job, but there's a lot of systematic, stressors that I have, because I'm a bit of a control freak. So it is exciting to create something that is mine, I should say, and to be able to be creative and be seeing things the way I've always wanted to see them. And so for me, it's always been about helping people with their mental health, right? Like I mentioned before, unfortunately, when you get into the school system and there's a lot of testing and a lot of paperwork and a lot of things you have to do, that focus on mental health, that focus on social emotional learning, which is like my bread and butter, gets further and further away. And I'm like, but wait, like this is the stuff I want to be talking about all the time. And so being able to, what I call kind of like making mental health cool, we're on that trend. I see us as a society getting there. We're climbing, we're talking about mindset, we're talking about mindfulness, we're learning about meditation. That's something I've recently really learned a lot about. So it excites me to share those practices with the world, to start a trend of empowering women to take care of themselves, to make it, what I believe should already be the norm, to put yourself first and to know that the best you fill your cup and the best you take care of yourself, the better you're going to show up for other people. I mean, we've seen it, we've heard it time and time again, but I think I speak more to it now because I've seen it for myself as I've invested in myself and as I've taken time to create this business, to go back to therapy, to get more credentials, to go to school, to learn, to continue to educate myself, that I can share that knowledge with women. And like I said before, I think a lot of times for us, it comes down to like not knowing where to get the information, feeling overwhelmed by the information. So the fact that through my business that I get to be the creative eye upon and be in control of, I get to utilize my platform. My favorite thing to do is to talk and connect with people. I get to do my favorite thing in the world, talking about my favorite topics in the world, which are health and fitness and wellness, and helping people live better lives. I don't know what this career might not exist, but it is what I'm doing and it's what I'm meant to do because it lights me up, and that's what I get most excited about, is that I look forward to a day where just taking care of your mental health, or saying I'm taking a day off because I'm taking a mental health day, or you're open about a mental health diagnosis and don't have to feel shamed for it, is a winning day in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So I look forward to being part of that change that we see in the future, where there isn't any more stigma and there isn't this taboo topic, and we openly talk about it. And if that starts with me spilling all my tea to the world of my mental health struggles, I think the more you talk about it, the more you hear other people be like, wait, me too. And the more you're like, why have we not, spoken about this at all?
I love it. I think that's great. I love that you're using your experiences and your education and all of that to help other people. And I think that it's making already an impact in our local community and in the online community that you're serving as well. One last question. I keep asking this in at the end of my conversations lately, but I love to hear people's answers, is how do you define success?
Being happy, feeling in alignment with your life and what you're meant to do. I've seen a lot of different people's versions of success, I think. And I think that mine, I've seen people whose definition is financial, or whose definition is a title. And I've learned from them that that's not something that I want to use as my definition. And so for those experiences, I'm grateful. And for me, it's about, happiness and alignment, really. If you're successful in your life, you're doing something you enjoy, you're making a difference, and you're aligned with the universe and you're aligned with yourself. And that's the goal. I mean, at least for me.
I love it. Happiness and alignment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aleece, for giving us some insight into Own Your Omh. Everyone go check out Own Your Omh if you haven't yet on Instagram. Connect with Aleece if you have any follow-up questions.
Yeah, for sure.
On mental health and physical health questions. But thank you so much to our viewers for watching. Voices for Impact is on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So please follow and like us to stay connected. And we'll see you next time on Voices for Impact. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.